Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. We are doing 2 videos tonight is our plan. Our first one is easy courtship and engagement questions that everybody has asked us on YouTube and Facebook. So if you have more questions, we haven't planned another video yet besides these 2 tonight. So here's our first question. Well, actually, I guess everybody knows who we are. You can introduce yourself first. This is Wayland. Virginia. Yes.
Wayland.
And if you haven't heard the whole range of songs, you may request in the comments below all Cowperthwaite songs about Wayland Schrock, and you will get a whole music list of songs.
Oh, that'd be a good video. I didn't think about that.
That might not be a good video. Okay, so our first question is, how did you meet?
How did we meet? Where do we want to start with that? I heard about the cows from my dad, who found out about them from a Facebook group. So that's not when we officially met, but that's when we met. Like, I knew about them.
Facebook met.
On Facebook, that's right.
Except for we didn't actually talk on Facebook. It was like our dads.
Yeah. Mark and my dad talk on Facebook, I guess, a little bit, so.
But then we officially met January of 2020. My family was on our way to Georgia for the G3 conference, and was one thing that we were doing on vacation. And we were invited to a little church plant in Tennessee and showed up, and somebody was at the hotel.
I wasn't even moved here yet.
Right, you had just come in for the day.
Yeah, our family moved to Knoxville in February of 2020. So we came, the first time that I came to the church was that week.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah. That was the first time I came to the church to visit the church. Mom and Dad had been here for like a week, but prior to that, I think. And then I came down. Dad was like, "Oh, you got to come see this church. You know, they're like really biblical, really sound, all this stuff." And so I came down, and me and Wendell drove down from St. Louis or from Wellsville, Missouri, and I think we stayed till the afternoon. Then I drove back to work on Monday. Yeah. So that's how we met.
Yeah. So January 2020. So how long have we known each other? 3 years. Technically.
Yep. Yes.
That
we've known each other face to face in person for 3 years.
Yes.
But I knew of them before that. We knew of each other, or each other's families before that. I don't know what year that was, but
actually, I technically knew of you and your dad, but your dad didn't mention to us that he had other kids, so I didn't know that your siblings existed. I found that out in like 2020. It's like, why do you have a 15-passenger van? He's like, because I have 8 kids. And we're like, oh, or 9. I guess he might have said. I don't know how many he counted at the time because Wyatt was already moved out with his own family.
Yeah, over our kids.
So have the families known each other for a while? About 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years, about the same.
Because we all met, like, my whole family and his whole family, apart from, like, Wyatt, who's married.
Yeah, my whole family was coming to church here in Knoxville when we first met everyone. So
3 years. Where will they be living once they are married?
We'll be living here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Up the hill from the church.
Yes.
So.
How long have they/you, this is written to my parents, been considering this marriage?
Oh, that was written to.
Well, I think that's why it was they/you. I think the me and you are the they, and mommy and daddy are the you.
Oh, okay.
So how long have we been considering this marriage?
What year? When did I come up the second time to see you guys?
I don't remember.
Wait, you and Tyler.
Tyler and I, Mark, it's kind of a funny story. Mark texted me after they had gone home. A time later, Mark texted me and said, "Hey, you said something like it'd be cool if you came to Maine and visit us or something like that, I think." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool," but I didn't, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I'll probably never do that." Like, I just don't think I'll ever go to Maine. Like, I didn't know them well enough to like think, okay, I'm gonna go to Maine.
Right.
That was hours, like a few hours before my brother Tyler called me, brother in Christ, Tyler, called me. And I hadn't talked to Tyler in a while. And he called me, and so I answered it. And the first thing he says is, "Wayland, how did he say it? He said, "Do you want to go to Maine with me?" And I was like, I'd only known Tyler for not for a long time, and I hadn't talked to him still for a little bit, and then whatnot. And so he was like, "Do you want to go Maine with me?" And I'm like, we hadn't done any trips together. We'd done hikes together, and like we fellowship together, and we did ministry together and stuff.
It's only 1,100 miles.
Yeah, it's only 1,100
It wasn't
miles.
that far.
And so Tyler was going through some stuff, and he was like, "Let's." He's like, "Will you go to Maine with me?" And I'm like, I was like, "I don't know. I have work and stuff." And I said, "Let me call you back." And so I thought about it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I want to go." So then the next day, he says, "Okay, I'm leaving in the morning," and we left at like 5, 6 in the morning or something like that. The next day, he wanted to leave that night, which was already like 6 in the evening or something.
I heard your clothes were. You had to.
Yeah,
wash
I had to
some
wash
clothes or
some clothes.
something.
I didn't have any clothes cleaned because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
You're not lazy.
By no means.
I had to get some like pack and everything because I didn't know. We didn't even like decide. We had no clue how long we were even gonna be there. We were just knowing, okay, we're going to Maine to the cow's house, and so we jumped in the car the next morning. I met Tyler in Knoxville. Jumped in the car the next morning and drove up to Maine. So what was the original question?
How long have you been considering this marriage?
So that was the first time that me and Tyler had went up. We stayed a week.
Yeah, that was June of 21.
Mm-hmm. And that was before y'all's van was wrecked.
Yes.
No,
That
after.
It was
because
shortly after.
It was shortly after the cow's van got wrecked, and they were considering getting another vehicle.
Right, because we knew that your family was supposed to be coming, and it's like, hey, the Schrocks are still coming, but Tyler and Wayland are going to get here first.
That's what it was. Mark asked me if I'd bring up a van from Oklahoma because he thought I was with my family in Oklahoma who was at an abolition thing at that time. And I wasn't in Oklahoma. But that's how Mark started talking to me over Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so that was June of 21.
That's the first time we came up.
Yeah.
Okay, the second time I came up, I had driven the bus, Behemoth, up from Tennessee up to their place. And then I was going to fly back. And that was the first time I asked Mark if I could court Virginia.
And I said no.
Did you know that?
I didn't know when it was, but I knew that it had happened. So that was when I was interested too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Which I didn't tell him until tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had no clue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was considering courtship, which we're kind of on the same page where if you're considering courtship, we hope that it would go to marriage. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would say the second time I came to y'all's house, I was considering it.
Yeah.
I don't know when Mark and them were considering it. Probably not very often.
I said no.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess our answer's about the same.
I said not yet.
I'm about to say, I don't think you said no.
Like, we don't really know you that well.
Yeah, it wasn't a no. It was, let me pray and think about it and visit us more. And then we'll go.
Hold on to your horses, boy.
Yeah.
And then, how much time have they spent together? Well, you're practically a Cowperthwaite at this point.
Yeah,
so.
we've gone on how many trips?
Well,
As like the whole cow family.
We did the whole 3 weeks in Florida and why am I talking?
we did 3 weeks in Florida and Georgia and stuff like that. He slept in the bus, we took the camper, but we were all like living together. And then
But I've been up to Maine 4 times, and I've stayed at least a week, 2 weeks each time.
And then in one of those trips, we went up to the friends up in northern Maine. So we did like farm trip. And then what else have we done? And then just like spending time together here, we've done a lot of.
Yeah. Before the courtship, we spent a lot of time together. As I spent a lot of time with the cow family. And then after the courtship, I spent a lot of time with the also.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. How much of their time together has been around large groups of friends and family, and how much has been with just a chaperone or two?
We are a large group.
Yeah, we are a large group. So most of our time has been
80% of the time it is with a large group, as in either just the Cow's family or the church, or my family and the Cow's family.
yeah. And then other times, I guess you could call it like just a chaperone or two. Like we will have conversations. Like we'll go into my parents' room at night, and we'll like the four of us will sit around and we'll have conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or occasionally we've gone over to like we have a couple who lives up here who are biblical counselors, and so we've gone up to their place a couple times. That sort of thing.
Yeah, but we haven't spent any time necessarily alone
No.
at all.
Campus ministry.
Oh yeah, campus ministry.
Limited chaperone.
There's 4 to 6 of us who go out, and so we'll break up into ministry teams while we're all in the same area. So we're a team on campus together. And then any other answers to that?
How much of their time together has been around? Yeah, I think most of our
Is
time
there
was
a
around
social
large groups
I
and
think
things
some
like that.
people are curious about like how we're running this thing. So you could talk about like the way we do messenger and chats and things like that.
So I'm not just texting friends, I'm texting my mom to ask her to check the muffins that I'm making for breakfast in the morning in the camper. So that's what I was doing. But I think so like messenger chats, we have 2 different ones. We have one that's me, Wayland, my parents, and Naomi. And that's where we do like some of the like everyday chatting, like, hey, what are you doing today at work? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then we have the private chat.
Yeah.
Which I actually need to get back to.
Didn't start until after the courtship.
So that one was to ask like courtship questions. And that's me, you, mommy, and daddy. And
I think the first message on the private message is a long list of courtshut questions.
Most likely.
I think that's the first message on the courtship question.
He went through a lot. I interrogated him ruthlessly. Was I nice about it? Not very nice about it?
No, you were fine.
So that's where we do like more serious talks. That's where we went through courtship questions before he got to Maine. Because we officially started courting when he actually was able to ask me in person. So that was September 8th of 22.
Yeah.
So
2022.
what is that? 7 months ago?
8 months ago? It was 8 months before the engagement. Like almost on the T. Maybe 2 days short. I think it was like 2 days short.
And we've been engaged 3 weeks, right? Yeah. 3 weeks.
3.5 weeks. Because we
It
have
was
2.
like April 4th, and then the wedding is May 13th.
Okay. So, yeah, this chaperone or two. Okay, we talked about that. But the private groups. So the private group, that's where we have like the more important conversations, but there's still somebody in it. It just goes to everybody's phones.
Yeah, we don't now, nor did we spend time alone or having secret conversation or anything like that. It was always with someone else or with a large group of people. It was never by ourselves.
Right.
And that's just to protect purity in our own minds and purity in other people's minds.
And there's no false accusations from other people like, oh, I saw you out doing this. And it's like, no, you didn't. We were always with somebody. So it's just a protection. Even if there's nothing bad going on, the appearance of evil and people not having suspicions. Does Wayland already have a job in place for them to live? Is the next question.
A job and place for them to live? I currently do not have a job.
Because
I've been, for the last 3 years, I've been self-employed, working for myself, like my brother and I, flipping houses, working with another brother in Christ here at the church, flipping houses and stuff. We are currently not doing that anymore. I'm going to be moving on after the wedding, after the honeymoon, going to be finding a different job just because we want to take a break from the flipping houses and the housing market and things like that. So currently I am not employed. But I don't recommend that for anyone else. But I do. It's not that I don't do anything now.
It's not that you're out of money either.
Yeah, it's not. We sold some houses, and that gave me money to live off of until I get another job. So I prefer not to have. I prefer to have a job. But I'm also, so the next question is, do we have a place to live? Right now I'm working on an apartment up the hill that is where we're going to live. And so I'm working on remodeling or making it into an apartment. So that's what I'm doing right now. And if I did have a job, I don't think I would have time to do that.
No.
But we do have money to start off our marriage and things like that.
Right.
So
The providing, just not going to work 9 to 5
at
somebody else's job.
Yeah.
Because you get to work
Partially
in the apartment.
because we're planning a wedding and you're fixing the apartment and then you're going to be gone for a month.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're not planning to be. Well, I guess we can talk about that later. Okay, this is written to Mommy and Daddy. Will your daughter work or be a stay-at-home wife from the start? I am going to be a stay-at-home wife from the start. That's
And the
what,
end.
and the end. That's both. That's what both of us wanted. That's one of our questions in the next video will be what some are the same values that we share, and that's definitely one of them. That a woman's role is primarily ministry to her husband and family and in the home. That does proceed out of the home, but not having a job under an outside employer for a wife.
Yep.
Okay, will Virginia get to pick out a pretty wedding dress, and will Wayland wear his hat for the wedding?
It's a good question. Yes, Virginia gets to pick her own dress. She's not being held against her will. She can wear whatever she wants at her wedding. It is her special day, our special day, so she can wear whatever she wants as long as it is pleasing to the Lord.
I couldn't really choose exactly what I wanted, so I made him help me decide.
Yep. And yeah, I will be wearing my hat at the wedding. But when we pray and when people are reading the word or anything like that, I'll be taking it off. So.
Oh, so I didn't tell you this because your parents didn't think your brother would like the idea of kneeling on the ground and being your hat bearer, because that's what our idea was to have the groomsman just sit there to hold his hat. And they didn't think you would like that. So your mom suggested that if you're building the archway for the wedding, you put a hook on the archway, and then you can just put your hat there. We're like, oh, you're so much better at this than we are.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, so that's another little Schrock family thing, is ceiling fans are to put your hats on. Because when you have how many boys in your family that wear hats?
5, 6, 7.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
You might need 2 ceiling.
Yeah, we didn't use ceiling fans growing up because Dad doesn't like the cold. He doesn't like wind directly on him or anything like that. So we didn't use ceiling fans. And we would always hang our hats on them because the little kids can't get to them that way and don't mess them up.
It works. And then the final question for our easy question list is, are the rest of the cows coming back to Maine for summer? Yes, my family will be returning to Maine right after the wedding. They will start their journey back with a trip to visit some family friends on the way. But arriving back in Maine in May and being there until another shorter vacation to Tennessee, but no longer 6-month segments as far as we know, because the only reason that we were here for 6 months was because we were recording.
Yeah, for the courtship.
That was why we were here so long.
They're welcome to stay 6 months, but they don't have to.
So yes, the Cowperthwaite clan will be returning to Maine.
We're going to have to do a part
Except for
B,
one.
like 1B, where like we explain what we're doing. But that will be a whole series of videos. Yes, we will be coming home one less cow.
One less cow.
Anymore.
But the Lord provided another cow coming in December.
Yes.
Baby number 10.
Losing one, gaining another.
Yep.
I'm not losing nothing.
Yeah,
I'm gaining on all ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our easy question list. So if you were wondering just the basics of how we met, how long we've been courting, all of that sort of stuff, hope that answered your questions. And then if you're interested in more in-depth questions such as what was the courtship process, why a short engagement, why we decided that each other was the one, or however you want to word that. Thanks, Bodhi. Then check back for the next video on herding little cows to the glory of God.